At 5, the case of a missing woman from the Antelope Valley has now turned into a homicide investigation after her body was found on the side of the road in Lancaster. Now detectives are hoping for the public's help in finding her killer. Eyewitness News reporter Leo Stallworth has more.
In mid-October 2025, a 42-year-old woman named Iesha Massey walked out of her apartment in Quartz Hill, California, and vanished without a trace. No goodbye, no warning, just gone. And what happened next would turn a missing person case into one of the most heartbreaking homicides Lancaster has seen this year. But before we get into what really happened to Iesha, if you're new to shadow crime, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button right now, smash the like, and turn on that bell icon. Because cases like this, they need attention. They need voices. And by staying connected with us, you're helping keep these stories alive until justice is served. Now let's talk about Iesha. She lived in the Antelope Valley area, specifically Quartz Hill, which is just outside Lancaster. It's one of those communities where people know their neighbors, where faces become familiar. Iesha was part of that fabric. She had her routines, her life, her people who cared about her. And when she disappeared in mid-October, those people knew something was wrong. You know how sometimes you just feel it? That gut instinct that tells you someone wouldn't just leave without saying something? That's exactly what Iesha's family felt. They didn't wait around hoping she'd show up. They took action. They printed missing person posters and plastered them all over the Antelope Valley. Every street corner, every bulletin board. Anywhere someone might see her face and remember something, anything. Can you imagine that desperation? Walking around your own neighborhood, taping up pictures of someone you love, hoping a stranger has answers you don't. Days turned into weeks. October bled into November, and still nothing. No phone calls, no sightings, no Iesha. The family kept searching. The community kept looking. But here's the thing about missing person cases that a lot of people don't understand. Every day that passes, hope doesn't just fade. It transforms into something heavier, something darker. You start preparing yourself for the worst while still praying for the best. It's psychological torture. And then November 19th happened. A road cleanup crew was doing their regular work on Challenger Way, just north of Lancaster city limits. It's the kind of road maintenance job that happens all the time. Routine, boring, even, until it's not. Until you find something that makes you wish you called in sick that day.
At 5, the case of a missing woman from the Antelope Valley has now turned into a homicide investigation after her body was found on the side of the road in Lancaster. Now detectives are hoping for the public's help in finding her killer. Eyewitness News reporter Leo Stallworth has more.
Posters like this one put up throughout the Antelope Valley. Family members of Iesha Massey say she had been missing since mid-October. Obviously, family members hoping, praying to find her alive. Sadly, that would not be the case. Roughly a week ago, a gruesome discovery just north of the Lancaster city limits.
The road cleanup crew were cleaning up debris off Challenger Way, and they started in the area of Avenue E and were working their way up to Avenue F, cleaning up trash, when one of the individuals cleaning up trash located what he believed to be a person or a body wrapped in some material.
The cleanup crew immediately alerting law enforcement, who determined the victim had sustained sharp force injuries to the neck area, leading to her death.
They believe that it is a body that's been discarded on the side of the road.
The coroner identifying the victim as Iesha Massey, the same person in the missing person poster. Horrible news for the family of the victim, who obviously were hoping she would have been found alive, but that is not the case, and so close to the holidays. I spoke to the victim's family. They are too distraught to speak to Eyewitness News. I also spoke to investigators who say this is a murder investigation at this point, and they need the public's help identifying a suspect, a murder suspect, and coming up with a motive. If you can help them, they want you to call them at the Sheriff's Homicide Bureau at 323-890-5500. That number again, 323-890-5500. Leo Stallworth, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
They found a body, wrapped in material, discarded like trash on the side of the road. Now, I want you to think about that for a second. Someone's daughter, someone's family member, wrapped up and left on Challenger Way. just sitting there while cars probably drove past for who knows how long. While Iesha's family was still hanging up posters with her picture on them, she was already gone. That's the part that gets me every single time with these cases. The overlap between hope and horror. The Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department responded immediately, and this is where things get procedural but important. They couldn't just assume who this was. They needed confirmation. They needed the medical examiner to do their work. So while investigators were treating this as a potential homicide, Iesha's family was still in that awful limbo, still waiting, still not knowing. Can you imagine getting that phone call? The one where investigators ask you to come in, and you know from their voice that it's not good news? That's what Iesha's family faced as the investigation moved forward. On November 26, 2025, the Los Angeles County Office of Medical Examiner made it official. The body found on Challenger Way was Iesha Massey. And here's what makes this even more devastating. The cause of death? Sharp force injuries to her neck. Let that sink in. This wasn't an accident. This wasn't natural causes. Someone did this to her. Someone attacked her with enough violence to kill her, then wrapped her body up and dumped it like she meant nothing. According to reports, when the family received this confirmation, they were too distraught to even give interviews. And honestly, I don't blame them one bit. What are you supposed to say in that moment? How do you put into words a fact that the person you've been desperately searching for was already dead? That all those posters, all those sleepless nights, all that hope was for nothing because someone had already taken her life? The family's grief became part of the public record in the worst possible way. Not because they wanted attention, but because their worst nightmare had become reality. And now they weren't just mourning Iesha. They were mourning her while knowing someone murdered her, and that person was still out there. Think about that weight. You're processing the loss of someone you love, and simultaneously you're aware that whoever did this is walking around free. Maybe they're watching the news. Maybe they're seeing the same reports you're seeing. Maybe they're living their life, while yours has completely shattered. The Los Angeles County Sheriff's Homicide Bureau took over the investigation, and here's where we stand today. No arrests, no named suspects, no clear motive, nothing. This case is as open as it was the day they found her body, and that should terrify all of us. Because here's what we know for certain. Iesha went missing in mid-October from her own apartment in Quartz Hill. That's her safe space, her home. Then roughly 4 to 5 weeks later, she turns up dead on Challenger Way with sharp force injuries to her neck. Someone killed her during that window of time. Someone in that community, or someone who passed through it, took her life and thought they could just dispose of her and walk away. And so far, they have. The detectives are asking for public help, which tells you they need it. They need someone who saw something, heard something, knows something. They're asking anyone with information to call them at 323-890-5500. And I'm asking you the same thing. If you live in the Lancaster area, if you know anything about Iesha's last days, if you saw anything unusual in mid-October around Quartz Hill or on Challenger Way in weeks after, you need to make that call. But let's get real for a minute. Let's talk about what this case really represents. Because Iesha's story isn't just about one woman who was murdered. It's about how quickly someone can vanish, how easily a life can be taken, how a family can go from normal dinner conversations to identifying a body in the span of a few weeks. It's about how the person responsible is still out there, and we have no idea if they'll do this again. So I want to leave you with some questions, and I want you to really think about them. What kind of person wraps up a body and dumps on the side of the road? What were they thinking in that moment? Were they panicking, or was this calculated? Did Iesha know her killer, or was this random violence? And here's the one that keeps me up at night. How long had they been planning this? Because sharp force injuries to the neck, that's personal. That's up close. That's looking someone in the eyes while you take their life. This wasn't a shooting from a distance. This was intimate violence. And that matters when we're trying to understand who could do something like this. Iesha Massey deserves justice. Her family deserves answers. And that community deserves to know they're safe. Right now, none of those things are happening. If this case got to you, if you want to see justice for Iesha, then do something about it. Subscribe to Shadow Crime, hit that like button, and share this video. The more people who know Iesha's name, the harder it becomes for her killer to hide. Drop a comment below with your thoughts on this case. And if you know anything at all, call the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Homicide Bureau. Until next time, stay safe out there.